Mr. Chairman, the price of gas and the unemployment rate both remain way too high, and American families are struggling as a result. That's why I support H.R. 4480, the Domestic Energy and Jobs Act, and I would urge my colleagues to do the same. This bill is truly a win-win. The steps that it takes to expand supplies of affordable domestic energy will create many jobs in the process. It's no secret that I don't see eye to eye with President Obama on energy policy, but perhaps the most inexplicable energy policy move the administration has made was the June 2011 decision to withdraw 30 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve with no plan to replace it. And it is hard to understand why the President would take oil from the nation's emergency stockpile while at the same time keeping off limits the far greater amounts beneath federally controlled lands in offshore areas. It's like a couple pawning their wedding rings for cash while ignoring a major gold discovery in their own backyard. The amount of untapped oil in areas kept out of reach by this administration is estimated to exceed the entire Strategic Petroleum Reserve dozens of times over. And these estimates are not mere speculation. Indeed, the recent increases in oil production on state and privately owned lands demonstrate the tremendous energy development potential on federal lands. But that potential will only be realized if the administration's roadblocks are removed. Title I of this bill does that. It requires that the next time the President withdraws oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, he must also commit to more oil leasing on federal lands in offshore areas. The result would be greater supplies of domestic oil and lower prices, not to mention thousands of new energy industry jobs. Gaining access to untapped oil reserves is part of the equation, but before that oil can reach consumers at the pump, it has to be refined into gasoline and diesel fuel. Title II of this bill will help American refiners so that they can keep fueling our economy and fueling the country, because what refiners really need is a little common sense, a little regulatory certainty. It would be an understatement to say that this administration's regulators have not been friendly to domestic oil production, and the truth is they have been no better to the refiners who produce the fuels that we use. In fact, EPA is moving ahead with a number of new regs affecting refineries and other facilities, regs that are likely to drive up the price at the pump and jeopardize refining sector jobs. Title II requires that we learn about the consequences before imposing additional red tape. It sets up an interagency committee that will analyze the cumulative effects of several upcoming EPA regs on fuel prices as well as jobs. It also defers the finalization of 3 measures until after the analysis is completed. The good news is that a future of chronically high gas prices is not inevitable. These policies that I've discussed and numerous other provisions in the legislation will in fact move us toward more secure, more affordable American energy and the jobs that go with it. The nation can increase domestic energy supplies, lower future prices at the pump, and create many more jobs. This legislation takes the steps to usher in the brighter future. I urge my colleagues to join with me in supporting it, and I reserve the balance of my time.